Hi, welcome back to Family and Fit, where we talk fitness and how to integrate it in your busy lifestyle. So today, I'm going to take you all through my upper routine at the house. I've done this routine a little bit before, just wanted to do another one just because there's different variations in every workout, and kind of show you my methodology of how I like to mix things up. I don't like to keep things the same always. To me, I love fitness and I love changing my workout routine. I've kind of altered my my thoughts of maximum gains and altered that over to just the funnest, fitness lifestyle that I could have, So if it comes to doing, two different exercises, one of them's gonna give me more gains, but I like doing the other one a lot more. I'm just gonna do the other one I like to do a lot more, because to be honest, as long as you're still sticking to your compound movements and you're hitting that muscle group, it doesn't really matter the exercise that you're using. Your back is a little bit different. So when it comes to your back, doing like seated rows versus pull-ups, that does work your back quite a bit different. And then also doing like stuff like shrugs or rack pulls, that'll work out your traps more differently. So your back is the more complex of of your muscle structure, but you're doing a lot in the background of my video, babe.
Sorry.
As far as your muscle structure goes, your back is just the most complex. Your chest is a lot more simple because made up of a lot less muscles, and whenever you're doing back or whenever you're doing chest movements, you are activating more of the muscle fibers in your overall chest than, say, for instance, if you're doing back and you're doing like a seated row, or let's just say go with a pull-up. If you're doing a pull-up, you're not going to be working out your traps hardly at all. Whereas, if you're doing a flat bench, you're still going to work out your lower chest, you're still going to work out your upper chest a little bit. It's not going to completely isolate away from one or the other. Now, if you do a decline bench press, it won't hardly hit your chest at all, or your upper chest, and vice versa. If you're doing incline, it won't hardly work out your lower chest at all, but you can do stuff like going to the flat bench, and you will get a pretty decent overall workout. And same kind of goes with the back a little bit. You can do seated rows and you'll still get some lat activation, but it will lag and it will not be near as optimal as far as in comparison to the chest, and how the chest can be more broke down on a flat bench, just because, like I said, there's overall more muscle fibers activated in the entirety of the chest as a percentage. So say for instance, flat bench may work out 90% of your chest, 90% of all muscle fibers in your chest, whereas a seated row, which would be like the equivalent for back, may only work out 60 to 75% of your entire back. So yeah, it makes a big difference. So let's go ahead and take you guys into the workout. Here my fiance is starting with some incline bench press. Hey bud, get your butt back into there. Yep. You want to keep your butt back into that area, because the more you let your butt slide out, the more you're going into a flat bench type of workout. So I say keeping your butt back into that area back here will definitely help target the chest, the upper chest more so. A lot of people make the mistake of sliding their butt way out that way, and if you don't even have high enough incline, you're essentially just doing a flat bench. But this is a pretty drastic incline. It's probably about a 45-degree angle, maybe a little bit more. Right now we're in the warm-up phase of the workout. I actually have done 2 sets, and I'm supersetting right now. I've done an incline bench press, and then I've also did some bent over rows, which are kind of the equivalent of seated rows. You're just in a bent over position. I'll show you all that here in a second. reps on it. Like I said, this is a warm-up, so I'm going to keep everything super high repetition. My primary movements for the day are going to be the incline, but it's not going to be the bent over rows. The actual primary movement for the day is going to be, for back, is going to be pull-ups. And the reason why I'm not going directly to pull-ups is because I want to warm up a little bit. I don't do too much stretching. So my form of stretching is doing like some super high repetition. I really love getting the blood flowing and getting the nervous system ready to activate. To me, that really helps with preventing injury, and also get you a nice pump, get your energy levels up a little bit, so that way when you go to perform the heavier part of the workout, you feel not as drained and you feel pumped up and ready to go. So I'm going to do the bent over rows, and then another thing that I'll end up doing is I'll do a little bit of bicep curls, just so that way I get a little bit of back workout and I get a little bit more bicep activation. And on top of that, I'm trying to put a little bit more emphasis on my biceps right now, considering that's something I've never really worked on. I mentioned that in other videos. I've essentially just done compound movements, like back style workouts for my biceps, and it's time to put a little bit more emphasis on them. That way I can get some more peaks. My traps, you can see, or my triceps, they hang down quite a bit. They're pretty decent. But my biceps need a little bit of work. They need some more peak on them. They have some nice solid definition as far as like overall girth. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate some bent over rows. One thing to really concern yourself with when doing bent over rows is, to me, it's a lot easier to occur a lower back injury. Just something about it. I don't know what the exact science is behind it, but whenever I'm bent over like that, I feel way more of a stretch in my lower back than I do if I was in a seated position. So like I said, this is just a warm-up part of the phase before I go into doing my pull-ups. Another thing I'm doing is getting some mind-muscle connection ready. Really not worried too much about counting. I am kind of keeping track a little bit. Probably going to shoot close to that 20 rep range, but primarily just really focusing on mind muscle connection, seeing if I can get my biceps to target more, seeing if I can get my back to target more. Maybe. Another thing when I'm doing these, I like to keep my knees bent a little bit. That way you're not completely locked out here, and as you're repping out, your knees don't take as much of a shock. The shock is more hinged in your knees versus just going right down on your joints. It's not that big of a deal, but when it comes to years and years and years of working out, if you get into fitness and you're working out for 20 years, there's little things like that that can cause long-term injuries that a lot of people just don't think about. So it's definitely something to be conscious of. And then we'll go ahead and get in some curls for the girls.
Curls for the girls.
Yeah. One cue real quick, whenever you're doing bicep curls, if you really focus on turning in the weight,
Good. Ow.
So I'm going to go ahead and do one more set of incline bench press, and then I'm going to go ahead and move on to actually doing some pull-ups, because that is my main focus and I don't want to get too wore out. But I'm starting to feel a little bit of a pump and a little bit of fatigue going in that super high repetition range, and just really pumping them out. Another thing I really like about that method is that, one, you're hitting like a super high hypertrophy, and another thing is you're getting a pump in a very short period of time because of doing so many reps, but then getting to a point where you're almost going to failure. You can get a nice burn without actually burning your muscles out completely. Bend over more, baby. Yeah, your back's too rounded.
And hard.
Notice how her back arches up a little bit. The more arched and the more upright you are, the more it will target the traps. The more bent over you are until you go flat, that'll target the middle back the most. And then if you're actually like at a downward slope where your head's facing towards the ground, it'll actually target a little bit of
Oh my god.
not traps. What the fuck am I thinking? What am I thinking, Ashley?
Huh.
Lats.
Lats. Traps, lats.
So yeah, if you're leaned over with your head facing towards the ground, it'll work out a little bit of your lats. But it's very hard to do that, and it is still very hard to target your lats in that manner. So I wouldn't really suggest trying to do it. But if you want to do some like really complex, hard movements, you could do something like that. Especially if you had like platforms, if like you could stand up like a certain height and then stick your head down like on a lower table or something like that. You know, that'd be like a good like home movement that you could do. But then again, you're gonna put yourself in a weird position where you could injure yourself. So it'd be something I take a lot of caution with. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit some pull-ups now. I have been using wrist straps a lot here lately, and the reason for that is so I've been using wrist straps here lately. If you've been watching some of the other videos, you already know that. But the reason why I've been using wrist straps is because when I went to my upper-lower split, I just over-fatigued my wrist and caused my wrist to feel spraying for like multiple days or weeks. Like it was like literally probably a couple months that my wrist felt messed up. And literally just like 2 weeks ago, I got over my wrist pain. I actually don't feel it at all anymore. But like I said, it lasted such a long time, and I don't want to end up going back into that again. So I'm gonna use my wrist straps at least a little bit more. I'll probably end up taking them off for some sets, but I don't want to over fatigue my forearms. And what that's coming from is doing chest movements and back movements. Both of them require your grip strength, and that's why they got fatigued so much. I've been doing push-pull legs for the majority of the entire time that I've worked out. Like I never did an upper-lower, and I jumped into upper-lower while I was in a cut, being nutrient deprived, and then going to a new workout program was really kind of a dumb idea. So I definitely advise if you're going to do a new program, make sure you're in a bulk or at least maintenance, because like I said, it could cause some injuries. Another thing that using these straps with is you'll be able to get a few more reps because you don't have to worry about trying to use any strength or energy to use your forearms. You gotta use a little bit, but not much, not near as much as without them. And also it helps with overall volume. You'll be able to get a lot more reps, total reps in, using the wrist straps, just because your forearms won't be the thing to fatigue. Especially with me, my forearms were my weakest point when I first started working out, and that will be a lot of people's, and my biceps were my second weakest. So yeah, utilizing stuff like this will help you be able to get bigger lats. Alright, so I just banged out 20 reps on that. It's actually kind of a PR because I hit 20 reps as a PR about a month ago. That was like right when I transitioned from my cut to my back into my bulk, and I've gained actually like 6 pounds already. If you diet, you know that after you come out of a cut and go back into a bulk, you'll immediately gain like 3 to 4 pounds back, just to adding more fluids and nutrients into your body. And another thing is, I've been eating a little bit dirty since I've been having to eat so clean for the past few months. So I've gained probably an excessive couple pounds that I didn't need to gain, but I was okay with that. Now I'm just kind of take things a little bit slower and just grind out a lean bulk and try to hit about almost a year of lean bulking. Alright guys, so just want to finish this video out, kind of let you guys know what all I did. I didn't do too many sets that I'm running late. I gotta go out of town today and I still gotta pack. So I hit a few more sets of the pull-ups, a few more sets of the incline press, and then I went ahead and finished off with some more bent over rows just to get more into that hypertrophy range of motion. When it comes to my pull-ups, I can hit like 20 reps off the bat, but then it like immediately drops down to like 20. I could probably hit like 14 if I didn't go to 20 the first time, but because of that, I only get about 12 reps each set after that, and then it drops even quicker and quicker, where I'm doing like 5 to 10 reps. And a lot of it's not muscle failure that I'm having, it's just like exhaustion, and when I take pre-workout a lot of times, it makes me feel like my head's going to explode, and it mainly just does it with pull-ups. I don't really have that with any other workout. I can do seated rows, I can actually do lat pull-downs, and none of them make my head feel like it's going to explode the way pull-ups do. And I think it's just because the overall body activation and how beneficial they are. You're just having so many muscles activate that you're not used to activating. Like these are way more beneficial than doing like like lat pull downs. Like I said, it just activates way more muscles in your body, and it's also harder to get a mind muscle connection on these than it would be to do the lat pull down. So like I said, I finished out with the bent over rows, just got in some more volume sets, and then I just continued out with my incline bench press. Let me know if you like this type of content, if you'd like for me to go more in detail with my actual reps, maybe more cue type of stuff, like how I'm performing the move with my elbows, and just like more minor details of the movements. And then also, if you'd like to see more sets, or if you just like them just like this, just let me know. That way I can put out the right type of content for you guys and kind of do what's most beneficial. I try to make this video here a little bit shorter and just kind of pack in a bunch of information and some of the things that I've kind of learned along my journey, and then some of the things that I've also learned from other people. Like I said, this one I didn't like put in too many sets, because I noticed when I put in a lot of sets, the video gets like 45 minutes long, and I don't think people want to sit through me doing like 10 sets of something. But this was a pretty short workout. It actually wasn't very voluminous. I'll probably make up for it with some frequency this week. I'll try to hit maybe an extra workout session this week, because this one wasn't as good. But frequency is very, very important. You don't want to go too many days without it. I would say 4 days at max is the longest you want to go before hitting a muscle group again. And since I do upper lower, essentially I can work out like every 2 days and be fine. And then if I hit my workout and it's somewhat weaker like this, then I won't wait 4 days. In 2 days I'll hit something a little bit lighter, and I'll probably do a little bit more isolation movements, kind of like you'll see in my trap exercises. I did a trap, bicep, and shoulder isolation movement. So check out that video as well. It's not up just yet. It'll be out in a few weeks, so just stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit that cellular button, so that way you can stay tuned with all our new content that comes out, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.